Coming up on Vegas Nation Blitz, a tough loss to open the season.
Like the way our team fought. I respect the fact that we made it a game, had an opportunity there at the end, but we got to do a lot better, and we can. We can do a lot better than what we did.
The Raiders must bounce back in time for the first home game. Raiders fast takes and smart coverage coming up right now on Vegas Nation Blitz.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.
Welcome back, everyone, for another week of Vegas Nation Blitz. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. Self-inflicted wounds were a huge contributing factor in the Raiders' 24-19 loss to the Chargers in the season opener. Derek Carr threw 3 interceptions and was sacked 5 times, and the fact that the Raiders are still experimenting with their offensive line didn't help either. Let's break this game down, starting with our top stories brought to you by Capriotti's. Make your game day extraordinary with Capriotti's. Order now. We are pleased to be joined now by Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Vinny Bonsignore. Vinny, I think it's the question that everybody's asking. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the panic level regarding the Raiders' offensive line? We know that the Raiders are looking outside of this building for some help, Vinny, and Kelechi Osemele.
Yeah, and if the name rings a bell, he played with the Raiders from 2016 to 2018. Offensive guard, really good player. Hasn't played since 2020 when he tore both ligaments in both knees against the Raiders, ironically enough, in October of 2020 as a member of the Chiefs. So they have him in for a visit, maybe for a depth piece or potentially as a starter. But in terms of freaking out level and panic level, I'm not really there yet. If you look at what happened on Sunday, the right side of the offensive line, which is where the movement has been, they've played 4 different players at right tackle and right guard. They actually played pretty well. And it was backed up by the grades at Pro Football Focus. It was the unlikely struggles of Colton Miller that was really blatant. And I don't expect Colton Miller to have a bad game like that. He was dealing with one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. Khalil Mack had a revenge game. We all saw that, and a lot of it was coming off the left side. So I'm not quite there in terms of panic. I think the Raiders will get it settled down on the right side. I think it might take a week or two for them to figure out whether it's Thayer Munford or Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle, or Dylan Parham or Lester Cotton at right guard. The one monkey wrench to the whole thing is Andre James' status. We don't know whether he's going to be ready to go on Sunday. He's in concussion protocol. If he can't go at center, do you move Dylan Parham over to center? He did get some snaps, I should say, in training camp at that position. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Well, Josh McDaniels has said it, and he said it immediately following the game, that he does not believe in moral victories, right? A lot of coaches don't. But when you look at the production of Davante Adams in his debut with the Raiders, you've got to be pretty proud of that if you're a part of this Raiders organization.
Yeah, without question, he was as advertised. I think the key now is getting everyone else implemented into it. You got Darren Waller, obviously you got Hunter Renfrow. Renfrow was covered really well. They got to figure out ways to get him going a little bit, but that's a pretty good problem to have. I think the offense, as it goes along and they get a little bit deeper into Josh McDaniels' playbook, and the balance gets kind of redistributed in terms of the targets, I think it'll all play out pretty well for the Raiders. There's just too much talent.
Well, I know, again, you wrote about it after the game, Vinny, and you've spoken to Josh McDaniels about this team learning how not to lose and why that is so important. When you look at the self-inflicted wounds that the Raiders caused themselves on Sunday, how can they learn from that? How can they grow from that now that the season is fully underway? There's no turning back now.
Well, taking care of the ball is so important, especially against a good opponent like the Chargers. You can't lose that battle 0-3, turning the ball over 3 times. And that's on Derek Carr. And he was, man enough to own up to it after the game. Those interceptions were the result of him being a little bit too aggressive, trying to get the ball downfield, whether it was to Davante Adams or in one case, I think it was 3 different receivers that he was trying to get the ball to: Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Davante Adams. So those are mistakes that obviously he would love to have back, but the money is on a Derek Carr in getting that fixed. But the self-inflicted wounds cost them a game on Sunday. That was a game that in every other statistic, they were even with the Chargers, and they had a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, down 5 with possession of the ball with 3 minutes left. You like the Raiders' odds in that situation. It didn't happen, and part of the reason was you can't dig a hole for yourself like that with self-inflicted wounds.
Great stuff there, Vinny. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and toss things over now to Heidi Fang and Adam Hill for a look around the league.
Around the League, sponsored by South Point Sportsbook. Download the app at southpointsports.com.
Thanks, Cassie. As we look ahead here to Thursday night's matchup, it's the Chiefs and the Chargers both coming off of a win in Week 1. Adam, though, this is a crucial game in some respects, being that one of these teams will lose, and how does that affect them because it's a divisional opponent?
Yeah, for sure. It's almost like it's worth 2 games every time the teams in this division play each other because we expect that it's going to come down to the wire. There's 4 teams that are very capable of winning this division. Of course, we saw the Raiders lose and the Broncos somehow lose on Monday night. So it looks like this division is going to come right down to the wire. The Chiefs' schedule is brutal. Might be more important for them just because of how hard their schedule is. You've got to hold serve at home, and the Chiefs get that opportunity this week against the Chargers. But, man, it is a very important game because even though there's 17 on the schedule and they're all equal weight at the end, some games matter more than others.
No Tyreek Hill, no problem for Patrick Mahomes, who threw 5 touchdowns last week. Adam, what do you make of what he can do against this Chargers defense?
Yeah, it's not even just the 5 touchdowns. I mean, the stats looked incredible in the box score, but if you watch the game, 33 first downs for the Chiefs. It was an unbelievable offensive performance. Now, you could say, hey, look, maybe the Cardinals defense is bad. We'll find that out at Allegiant Stadium this week, perhaps. But, man, that was an impressive and a very, very efficient offensive performance for the Chiefs in the opener. And Justin Herbert looked really, really good in the first half, at least, against the Raiders. So I think it's going to be a really, really high-scoring game, a battle of very good offenses. And again, the winner is in a very good position in the AFC West. The injury report from the Raiders' first practice of the week shows 4 players did not participate with different injuries. Andre James leads the list. The starting center suffered a concussion at the end of last week's game against the Chargers. He is still in protocol. His status for Sunday's game unclear. Trayvon Merrick left the game with a hip injury. He also didn't practice on Wednesday, along with linebacker Denzel Perriman, who suffered an ankle injury. Brandon Bolden scored a touchdown in the game, then suffered a hamstring injury. He also did not participate on Wednesday. But Nate Hobbs, starting cornerback, was a full participant despite a back issue that he suffered against the Chargers. He should be good to go this week. On the other side, the Cardinals had a whole bunch of guys not participating. It might actually be easier to list the guys that did participate fully in practice. But Trayvon Mullen, former Raider, he is limited in practice with a toe injury. We'll see what his status is for the return to Allegiant Stadium. Kelvin Beachum, Zach Ertz, Rodney Hudson, another former Raider, Andy Isabella, Rondell Moore, and Jalen Thompson, along with star J.J. Watt, all did not participate in practice for the Cardinals. We'll get further updates later on in the week.
DNR House of Diamonds is Las Vegas's elite private office jeweler, the perfect bridge between internet pricing and a traditional brick-and-mortar jewelry store. We specialize in loose diamonds, natural and lab-grown, engagement rings, fashion jewelry, custom design, and jewelry repairs. We operate by appointment in our beautiful offices in the One Summerlin building, downtown Summerlin. Our great relationships with the world's largest diamond wholesalers and our low overhead saves you hundreds, if not thousands, on your purchase.
With Capriotti's, game day is always extraordinary. Fuel your passion with our award-winning cheesesteaks, in-house oven-roasted turkey, and classic subs. Or create a fan frenzy with our catering trays that are perfect for any crew. At Capriotti's, we deliver extraordinary to you.
Now it's time for your weekly look at Raiders social media. The Week 1 loss to a rival, not ideal, but there's still a whole season to go and a rematch in Week 13. Now, former Charger Sean Merriman got on Twitter and invited a lot of smoke after the Chargers' victory, but Raider Nation not wavering and clapping back. Once you start talking rings, there's not much else that can be said. And we've got a game day fit check over on Reddit, the Hunter Renfrow custom jersey with the slot machine nickname on the back. Could we see a Max Crosby Condor jersey as the season goes on? We're going to keep an eye out for that one. And finally, you may remember that awesome cinematic shot of Derek Carr running out of the tunnel last season. Well, on Sunday, we got 2 Devontae Adams videos from the Raiders. The shots of Adams suiting up for the first time as a Raider, and he put up a movie-like stat line as well. 10 catches, 141 yards, and he found the end zone in his debut.
Welcome back, everyone. Cassie Soto here with you, and I am joined by Las Vegas Review-Journal sports columnist Ed Graney. Ed, a few days removed now from the Raiders' 24-19 loss to the Chargers. After looking at it and obviously writing all the articles that you have for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, what would you say was the biggest reason for this Raiders loss?
3 interceptions. You can't turn the ball over in the NFL. Derek Carr had 3 interceptions. It did not go well for them. Also, the offensive line struggled really to give any kind of consistency. So against those edge rushers like Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, it was going to be almost impossible to move the ball consistently if you can't hold up in front. And Derek made some bad decisions on the 3 picks. So if you take those away, maybe you get more, you get more drives. And yet at the end, Cassie, they still had a chance to win. They still had a chance to drive the field. So I think there's a lot of good to come out of that as also. You can look and say we had 3 picks, couldn't hold up front, wasn't consistent offensively, and yet they had a chance to drive the field at the end of the game. So I think they're going to take some positives out of it.
Yeah. Well, how about guys like Chandler Jones? Obviously, we didn't hear his name very much on Sunday. Max Crosby had a decent game. But what do you make of this defense? Obviously, they were able to hold the Chargers to 24 points and just 7 points in the second half.
Exactly. I thought they made some really good halftime adjustments. I mean, Justin Herbert kind of got them in the first half, but you look at the second half, like you just said, 0 points in the fourth quarter, 7 points over the entire second half. I thought they did a really good job. Now, Max and Chandler didn't get home. They've got to start doing that. I thought Max played really, really well. Chandler, they kind of took him out of it. He didn't have a lot of stats to be noted of, but we know how good they are, and I think that'll change this week. It'll be a really good test against Kyler Murray and the Arizona team, because he's going to get out in space even more so than Justin Herbert did. So it's going to be important for them to hold the edge against the run and also try to get to him a little more than they did Justin Herbert.
Yeah, well, you mentioned this upcoming game. Obviously, the Raiders with their first home game hosting the Cardinals. What's it going to take for them to bounce back? And we know this Cardinals team is coming off of a big loss to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes' 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're going to want to come back and play better. For the Raiders, don't turn the ball over. I think they'll be enthused by the home crowd. I think that'll get them going. I expect them to play a lot better. If you don't turn the ball over, if you can get home a little defensively, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to want to run the ball more. The Chargers kind of dictated that they didn't run the ball as much last week. I think they're going to want to get Josh Jacobs and all these running backs they have involved more. But don't turn the ball over. Get home on Kyler Murray. Take the crowd into the game with you. Take Arizona, give Arizona that crowd to play against, and I think they're going to be fine.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Vegas Nation Blitz. For all of your Raiders news, you can head on over to vegasnation.com and be sure to tune in bright and early on Saturday at 7 a.m. for our Vegas Nation Game Day show, where we will preview the Raiders and Cardinals Week 2 matchup. For our entire Vegas Nation crew, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you soon.
Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Blitz. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.